What's up, guys? Welcome to
You nailed that. Oh man, do you do this much, or is this your first time?
This is my podcast. I am Justin,
And I'm Jordan.
and welcome to another video game podcast.
A podcast where different gamers talk about different games.
How you been, Jordan?
Man, I've been doing pretty good. I just came back from a week off of work, and I'm like back in the store again. So it's like it has its pros and cons. It feels good to be. Just like back into life and not just hanging out with a 4-year-old all day. But also, like, I came home from work and my son was so excited to see me, and it just it warmed my heart. I was so happy. He ran up and was like, "Daddy," and he gave me a big hug. I was like, "Oh, come here, you little rascal." Ah.
You let him out of the kennel and let him go to the bathroom. And...
Yeah. Yeah, I gave him my leftover food.
Right, yeah. I mean, that's what I do with my wife, so.
I mean, yeah, that's the right thing to do. She's not gonna kill you in your sleep.
How could she? She's in the kennel. I'm so glad she doesn't listen to the podcast.
Puts the lotion in the basket.
Puts the lotion on the skin or else it gets the hose again.
That is frightening, and I don't want you to ever say that to me.
Would you me? Are we past a minute?
Yeah, we are. We are? Okay.
I think so.
Okay. Oh, man.
I might still bleep that.
I might.
What are we doing today, Jordan? This is your game.
I know, and I feel like this one's interesting. The roles are kind of flipped this time because this is a story-based game.
What a story game?
Yeah,
that you played and I didn't.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say.
What?
I know.
Look at Jordan over here.
We're learning, okay?
What are we doing
growing.
today?
We are playing we're doing a podcast.
You need to think of other adjectives other than the one and the only, because you've done it like 5 times.
Oh, it's so catchy though. How about we reduce the suspense and actually tell them what
Tomb Raider.
Not quite. Close.
Indiana Jones.
Better.
Whoa.
Well,
watch yourself. Harrison Ford. I'll write till I die.
Okay, he's an incredible actor.
Love you, Harry. I know you listening.
I know. Love you, boo. This episode is on the Uncharted series, the Uncharted games. Ooh. Oh man, I know.
The Uncharted games, I've had my eye on them for quite some time. So I'm pretty late into the PlayStation game. I never owned a PlayStation 1, 2, 3. I only have owned a PlayStation 4. I got it for 3 games. I got it actually Black Friday of 2019.
Wow, that's late. Holy crap.
Very late.
Yeah.
So because I was not a PlayStation person. I was on Team Xbox until I actually grew the fuck up and said, "Oh, all the consoles are pretty good. I don't have to be on a team."
Nintendo. Sorry, I tried to get trash out of my lungs.
Dude, I own a Switch too. It's fine.
Yeah, I talk shit. I own a Switch. I have one upstairs.
Well, I love my Switch.
Yeah.
I got it for Bloodborne.
Okay.
God of War, and most importantly, the Spider-Man game that Insomniac put out.
Oh, that game was so good.
Which that game, I've literally talked about it as recently as yesterday with friends of mine. Just because that We'll do an episode. We have to do
Yeah,
an episode
we
on
will.
Insomniac Spider-Man.
We will. What's our list so far? I think the two that we need to do are Last of Us and Spider-Man.
We'll do God of War too.
I've played God of War 1, 2, and 3, but I haven't played the newest one. But I have it. I literally have a hard copy in the basement with me, and I haven't done it.
You need to play it. You'll
It's
like
good?
it more
Okay,
than
all
the
right.
first three. That's for sure.
Yeah. Okay, I feel like I wanna pull us back, man. I wanna pull us back.
Yeah, I didn't play it. It just looks like female. It looks like male version of Tomb Raider, and it's also young Indiana Jones.
Yes, those are two phenomenal combinations. You described the game. You really did with that. But I love the games so much. I'm trying to tell you, like, I don't know how to really describe it. It's Indiana Jones, but a video game. And they just took the time, the effort, the energy to just make it a phenomenal series. Now, I will say they came out with like a mini Uncharted that I never played, Uncharted Lost Legacy. I never played that mainly because it wasn't about Nathan Drake.
It was about Claire, I think was her name. Was it Claire?
No, is it about? No, what's her name? Is it Claire?
I think it's Claire.
Can't remember. Chloe. It's about Chloe. It's about
Chloe.
Chloe.
So let me ask you this: who is Nathan Drake, our protagonist?
He's a nobody. He really is, and that's like his story. He was an orphaned child. All right. He is a poor man hunting dreams, and every time, spoiler alert right now, yeah, we're throwing it out early, every time he gets so close and fails. Every time he gets so close and fails. He's an adventurous no one, and I think that's like what makes him such a good character, is because he's doing these amazing things. And he really is a really cool guy, but he has nothing going for him. I mean, eventually he gets a good life put together, but I mean, he's kind of a loser. Like, but he's just well built and kind of knows a lot. But I mean, he was an orphan child. I wish they told me more about the story. I will talk more about it, but I don't want to give it away because we don't hear about his childhood until like Uncharted 3 or 4.
So. One of the cool, because I was doing my own research on this game, it was that someone that hasn't played it, and one of the cool things I found out is that the main inspiration in terms of a real life person that inspired the character of Nathan Drake was Johnny Knoxville of Jackass.
No.
Yeah, because it was like this very cocky personality, but also a very sweet guy, and how his cockiness can get him into trouble.
Yes, 100%. His cockiness gets him in trouble.
So, like, so was after I explained it, does that sound accurate or does that sound stupid?
No, I can see it, but definitely mix in a little bit more Indiana Jones. Like, you can't tell me that there wasn't Indiana Jones.
Oh no, they literally
100%.
Right after I found that out, there was another note that was like, obviously the other inspiration was Indiana Jones, for like a lot of the adventuring parts. So what is he doing? Like, how does a nobody get roped into? Is he treasure hunting? What is he doing?
Yeah, he's a treasure hunter. He really is. Later on, he works as like a salvage guy, like a deep sea salvage guy. But he's a treasure hunter. All of the games are about him going after different treasures or like some sort of historical artifact, something like that.
Is it like the classic, like, you got to get there before the bad guy gets to it?
Yes. Yep. Like before the bad guy gets to it. What's really interesting is that like Uncharted 1, 2, and 3 had this like weird, like, do you remember how in Indiana Jones 4, the one with aliens, like you get to the end and find out that it's aliens and you're like, aliens? What?
I keep forgetting that you like that movie.
It's a good movie, but I will say the plot, like, it does feel a little weird. It doesn't it?
It's a good movie, but the story sucks.
It doesn't suck. It just like, it was a weird awkward plot twist.
It just doesn't not suck.
Yeah, so a lot of that is in these games, right? Like the games are really down to earth. You a lot of times the games start where like you're either hired on from the bad like by the bad guy, or you know the bad guy personally, or it's something like he was your friend once and then now you guys find that you're on opposite ends because of some series of events. And all the games really are like that. But oh man, I think because of that, you do hate the villain a little bit more, like because he has some sort of personal connection to Nathan. And dude, man,
For one,
I love these games.
I could get torn apart for saying this, but what it sounds like to me is that the game itself, or the story, I should say, is not unique. The story is something we've heard before, but it's done in such a good way that still makes it memorable. It makes it stand out.
100%. It's kind of like how I was a theater kid. I don't remember who. I think it's like the improv troupe in Italy. They kind of created like four, like way back in the day, like before Renaissance times. They created like four main storylines or something like that, and everything since has been one of those storylines. But essentially, it is kind of that situation where the storylines don't change a lot, but there's a lot of comfort in that. And there's a lot of like, you kind of know what you're getting, but you also don't know what you're getting. You know you're going to go on a really cool adventure, but you have no idea where, you have no idea for what until you get your hands on the game and start playing it.
It's a playable movie.
Yeah, 100%. It is very movie-esque.
Yeah, it sounds like it's got like all the plot hole. It sounds like it's got like all those classic twists that you can see from a mile away. Like, oh, this guy seems like he's your best friend. Oh, plot twist, he's the bad guy. Like, I'm sure there's a ton of that.
So yes, but the ones you don't see coming are the supernatural elements that are in the Uncharted games, because it doesn't feel like a supernatural type of game.
So ring it back, because I'm not aware of any supernatural stuff.
Yes, the first three all have a supernatural twist at the end.
Are you talking Alien, or are you talking like Indiana Jones style where it's like Ark of the Covenant and it's religious, or is it?
I believe Uncharted 1, you're going after a religious artifact. And then the other ones are like you discover a civilization that's buried underground, and this civilization is full of like mutants because of some virus that's been locked away in this sarcophagus of someone. Or there's one where, God, what happens? I have to look it up. But there's a lot of like mutants or like tribal people who are into some weird voodoo shit, and you're like, what? It's that kind of game. It's got a little bit of that element in there.
Is it ever
except
scary?
For the fourth one. That's a hard question to ask because it is not a horror game.
No, it's not a horror game, but does it have moments where you're like, does it have like one jump scare, or does it have like the creepiness in some parts?
There's some jump scares. There is an element of suspense in a lot of it. Like there's times when these mutants are chasing you, or there's times when like people go crazy because they drank something. There's a lot of that.
Tequila.
Vodka
and tequila.
100%. But yeah, it's not scary. It's very much an event, like action adventure series.
So which game has the train scene?
I believe that is Uncharted 2.
I've heard from multiple sources that is one of the best game openings ever, is the train scene where where Nathan Drake wakes up sitting in the seat of a train, and as it pans out you see that the train is about to fall off a cliff, and the train's not like moving, but it's like crashed and hanging off a cliff, and you have to start like climbing up, and I've heard it's one of the best game openings.
So I don't think that that's an opening, though. I'm trying to look up.
It's not an opening?
No, I think that's halfway through Uncharted 2. I'm trying to look it up right now.
Well, while you look that up, can I ask you the two main questions, the two first questions I typed down?
Yeah, 100%. Go for it.
Is Tom Holland a good choice to play Nathan Drake? We're going to answer these one at a time. You're muted, Jordan.
My bad. Is Tom Holland a good choice to play Nathan Drake? Um, I don't know if it was the best choice. However, I think there's some solid arguments for why they picked him. Because I will say, like in Uncharted 4, I think it's 4, it's either 3 or 4, we learn a lot about young Nathan Drake, and you play as like a teenage Nathan Drake. And so I could see it, especially because if it ends up being wildly successful, like the video games were, like if it ends up becoming literally the next Indiana Jones, they need a young actor that they can age. Like they need to be able to stretch this out, and so I think that's a really good reason to pick him. I've heard that there's a lot of controversy with the movie though, and so I don't want to get my hopes up too high. I will go see it in a theater when it comes out. I will be happy to go spend whatever amount of money to go watch that in a theater. But I'm trying to keep my expectations in check.
So, like, before, because the people have been wanting an Uncharted movie for a long time, because it basically is just a series of movies. And there's been one main person that has been, there are two people, I should say, that have been kind of, that the fan base has been clinging to the most. One of them is Chris Pratt. Chris Pratt as Nathan Drake. And I want to get your opinion on that.
Star-Lord?
Yeah.
I thought about that. No.
Really?
No, not a fan of that. He's too funny. Nathan's not that funny.
All right. And the other person, which, like I told you a little bit beforehand, he actually did a little short film thing where he was Nathan Drake. Like, he wanted to be Nathan Drake. And that is a Nathan Fillion of Firefly.
Pulling that up,
here.
but I
Nope,
think...
here. I got it pulled up for you.
Oh, yeah. No, 100%. I think he could definitely do a really good job.
He would nail it.
Yeah.
He would nail it.
I think he would do a good job as like an older Nathan Drake, 100%.
Yeah, he would have been Uncharted 4 Nathan Drake, 100%.
Yes, he would have. Yeah, I can 100% see that, and that's a really good pick.
Yeah, look up anyone who doesn't know who that is. Look up Nathan Fillion and then Nathan Drake afterwards. There's like look up the two names side by side, and there are a bunch of pictures of them side by side with pictures of Nathan Fillion dressed as Nathan Drake, and just even watch the short clip. It's really good, and it's and again, I haven't played the game, so I can't be the perfect person of like, yes, he should play him, but now here's the one that I am more concerned about. Mark Wahlberg as Sully.
I actually hate that one less than I hate Tom Holland. Well, I don't hate Tom Holland as Nathan Drake. Tom Holland, I can make some arguments against, but Mark Wahlberg as a younger Sully, 100%, I could see that. 100%. I think he would do a really good job. And also you need two A-list people to play Nathan Drake and Sully, because they're like the main heroes in the story. Sully, for those who don't know, Sully is like an older friend of Nathan Drake who has a lot of knowledge and also has had money and kind of funded some of Nathan's adventures and has a lot of knowledge that Nathan may not have. He's like an older guy though, so he kind of needs a young guy to handle all the climbing and the action stuff. That's another thing too. Uncharted, especially Uncharted 2, is also kind of a platformer.
Yeah, it looked very like cinematic in terms of the way you have to move around, like a grapple hook and all that kind of jazz.
Yeah, and there's a lot of like jumping from ledge to ledge and climbing, kind of like there was some of it in Jedi Fallen Order.
Yeah, a lot of parkour elements.
Yeah, there's some parkour in it.
I think
The parkour from the first two were not great.
I
I'll tell you.
think the main reason I don't like Mark Wahlberg as Sully is because I don't like Mark Wahlberg.
Really? Why do you
I
not like Mark Wahlberg?
He just always comes off as a douche to me in every movie he's ever in. Every movie he's in, he seems very disingenuous. I don't know. I don't like him as an actor.
That's true. I could say that that kind of works for Sully because Sully is a little bit of a hustler.
But
You
yeah,
know?
I'm not. I just don't like him. Maybe people will be mad at me for that, but that's okay. I can like what I want to like, but yeah, I'm just not a fan of Mark Wahlberg, and so I was like, oh, okay.
I will say Mark Wahlberg with a mustache is really uncomfortable.
Oh yeah, we're the whole time we've been looking at pictures of Mark Wahlberg in a mustache for his role as Sully, and it is very weird.
I get like 90s porn vibes from it. Don't
Yeah,
you? Don't you? Just a little bit?
yeah. He looks like he's about to be in a Magnum PI reboot.
Either that or a Magnum commercial. One of them.
Okay. Yeah, that's a mustache. Now we're looking at Magnum PI photos.
Yeah, there we go. That's much better. That's much
Yeah,
better.
yeah. Now we're just looking at 90s porn videos.
Wait, Justin, go back to that other one.
Behold, the very first explicit episode.
Rated X.
Jeez.
I did look up the train scene. You are correct. It is the opening of Uncharted 2. I was incorrect.
Man, and I thought you played the games.
I did play all the games. I 100% played all of the games.
Yeah, you did.
Justin, okay, you're gonna have to forgive me a little bit on the plot and like where things fall.
Don't
because
tell me what to do.
but you have to remember, like you replay story games. You 100% replay story games.
Good ones.
I don't even really good story games. I don't replay.
I probably wouldn't replay a game like Uncharted. Like I replay a lot of games where you choose your character. You make your own character. Like I didn't replay God of War. I did replay Spider-Man, but only because my wife wanted to see the Spider-Man game, but did not want to play Spider-Man.
That's fair. That's
And
fair.
so, but yeah, I don't really replay ones that I know I'm going to get the exact same story out of it. I only replay games that I can get a different story out of, or I make my own character out of, and then I want to like make him a different character.
Yeah, I can 100% see that. Justin, I have a little proposition for you though.
What?
I will 100% let you borrow all 4 Uncharted games if you promise to actually play them.
Yeah, it'd be a really slow process.
Well, what I would do, okay, that's 100% fair. What I would do, because there is a Nathan Drake collection that I
Right.
own, which is the first 3, and then I also have Uncharted 4. Uncharted 4, it's so good.
It looks so pretty.
Good. It's so beautiful. It's one of the best graphics some of the best graphics I've ever seen on a console, period. Hands down. It looks incredible, especially if you get the chance to play it on like one of the higher end PS4s, like the newer ones. And I really hope that they do an Uncharted collection for PS5. I'm sure they will. It's one of the best sellers.
So I found this out while I was doing my research. During the E3 demo of Uncharted 4, there was supposed to be this cutscene, and then you were going to take control of Nathan right out of the cutscene and like walk through this plaza, but their controller broke on the E3 stage. So there's about like 30 seconds to a minute of Nathan Drake just standing there right after the sequence, and Sully's just going on ahead of you, and you're just standing. He's just standing there. And it is a great demo. And now in the actual game, if you freeze at that same spot for 30 seconds, you get an achievement called Stage Fright. And
No
I'm
way.
like, yeah, and I'm
That's
like,
awesome.
good on Naughty Dog for making fun of themselves a little bit.
That's really fun.
It's really funny. So
Um,
how would you have you ever played any of the Tomb Raider games?
no, but I want to.
The gameplay looks eerily similar because Tomb Raider also has a lot of parkour elements, a few QTEs or quick time events, and it also has third person combat. The only, especially in the newer ones, I should say,
Hmm.
they seem scarily similar. I get it from what I've seen. The new Tomb Raider games are a little bit darker, a little bit more gritty. Because they take away the Tomb Raider. We're not gonna do an episode on Tomb Raider, guys.
I
I'm
don't
just
think
letting you
so.
know,
I
just
don't think
because
so.
neither of us are really big fanatics. I've just played them and they're fine. But like not like Lara Croft, the main character, they took in the newer games. They took away her like badassery of doing backflips while dual wielding pistols and shooting T Rexes of the good old like blocky 3D games. Um,
Hmm.
and
They made it a little more real.
they made her like a more inexperienced and in a life threatening situation, and she's like basically fighting to survive out of instinct, and slowly gets better at it. Um,
Does the Tomb Raider games, we haven't talked about this yet, but some of the best 3D puzzles that I've played in a video game have been in Uncharted. Like, especially Uncharted 2, I believe, and Uncharted 4. 2 and 4 are really the best ones, I think, hands down. But their 3D puzzles were incredible and they were really difficult. And it took a lot of like going back and forth and trying to figure out how this machine worked or how you needed to position these items. That was a really good, like, they nailed the puzzles. They were hard, but they were not too hard, and you felt really good when you got through a puzzle.
I like hearing you talk about this kind of stuff because, like, as someone who plays a lot of story games, if ever they're a 3D semi-linear, semi-open world game, like very similar to Jedi Fallen Order, the latest God of War, Tomb Raider, Uncharted, all that kind of stuff. Almost all of them have puzzle elements in them, and hearing you talk about puzzles and being like really stoked about them, I think you could get really into other single player games and become like I think you could get your toes and your feet in both pools a little bit more than you already have, because I could tell you would enjoy a lot of games that I like.
Yeah, okay. All right. I do really like difficult 3D puzzles because I don't know, I just get lost in the puzzle and I can sit there for like an hour and try to figure it out.
They're not necessarily hard, but I think you'd really like the new God of War for that reason too, because the old God of Wars are hack and slash, where this one's like hack and slash with combos and puzzle solving and way better story, and it's cool. I've noticed that a lot of the PlayStation exclusive games are pretty similar in that matter.
Hmm. They have a formula.
They
They
do have a
100% have a
formula.
formula.
Yeah, I can visually see the similarities. I not like see because like they can be completely different kinds of games, but I still feel that they're all part of the same family whenever I play them. It's that stuff like Horizon Zero Dawn, and The Last of Us and God of War. They all feel like they're part of the same family tree. Even if you didn't tell me that they're all Sony exclusives, they all feel like it.
I think Sony does that on purpose, because they don't want people to get hung up on the minutia of a game, like how do the controls work or what is the timing for QuickTime things. They don't want that to interrupt your story experience when you're playing a Sony story game. And so I have noticed that a lot of the a lot of the controls or mechanics, if one game changes it and they do really well, then they apply that change to all the future games.
It's really cool. I like Sony exclusives. They have a very very high mark of quality. There's a very specific level of quality that game has to hit for it to be a Sony exclusive.
I 100% agree with that. It's a really smart just business mindset from Sony. It's like if you're going to release a Sony exclusive, it needs to be like a really high-end game and they need to be able to make a shit ton of money like selling it. Like they need to be able cuz like I'm pretty sure they have to pay the developer like so much for it to be a Sony exclusive, but the benefit it's like a two-way street. It's a two-way street. They get a bunch of resources from Sony.
I could be remembering this completely wrong, but I'm pretty sure I read somewhere that every time Sony makes a game, they usually either break even or take a little bit of a loss, but it's worth it in the long run of their brand. I'm trying to remember where if I read that or not.
I don't think they would risk taking a loss because at the end of the day they are a business, but I could see them like trying to break even or only make a little bit of money. Either that or spend more money than most other like for like Microsoft exclusives. I think they try to spend more money on their exclusives.
I'll try to find this out. I'll try to find that out and get back to you guys next week.
All right. Hit me with another question, Justin. What else you got for me?
I don't have any more.
Oh, goodbye, everyone.
Are you wanting to make this a mini?
No.
No?
Well, not necessarily a mini and not necessarily a long one, but I what else you got for me? I feel like we need to talk more about Uncharted 4 specifically.
So give me an idea of my wife is just standing at the door. Wife, just come in.
Hi, wife. Come here. Come talk to the
walk
audience.
Inside, honey. This recording is just for me and Jordan. The camera is not shown anywhere else. Oh my gosh, my wife just delivered me food.
Oh, tell her thank you. Oh, that looks so good.
It's burgers and diced potatoes.
Oh man!
And now I have to sit here and look at you instead of looking at eating my food. What are the main story points of each game? Like what's the goal that Nathan has for 1, 2, 3, and 4?
Okay. Give me a little bit of time here, but essentially
I'm eating potatoes.
All right, I will. The first one, I'm not going to give you a beginning, middle, and end because that's too difficult, and there's a lot of jumping around.
Just
and going
tell me
back
what
and
the
forth.
goal is.
Yeah. The first one, you are looking for El Dorado. I will say that. The second one, you are going after, oh God, I have to pull it up here. The second one's a little convoluted, but you end up finding what's called the Sintamani stone, and it's a giant like ember stone that's flammable. And it came from the tree. It's the sap from the tree of ancient life, and the sap gives drinkers like inhuman powers and like makes them really strong, makes them a little crazy.
Do you get that at one point? Like, do you consume it?
No, you fight against people the whole time because it turns you crazy. Like it makes you super strong. But
I was thinking like maybe he got like a little taste of it, so you go through like a short sequence where you're all fucking buffed up and nuts.
Not quite, but there is a part where like you're drugged and you chase after somebody while you're drugged, and it's really
that's the same.
Yeah, it's well, I mean, it feels the same to the person, you know?
What?
You ever talk to a meth head? They feel like they can lift a car over their head.
How often do you talk to meth heads?
Once.
A week.
At my job.
Whenever I call my mom.
Oh, that's great. 100%, that's great. But essentially, you go after the Sintamani stone and you find this like underground civilization, and it's really wild. And I just have to encourage you to play it. The third one, I really do not remember the third one. I know that I've played it, but let me kind of look it up here.
You chose this episode. You
I know.
chose this game, and half of it has been you Googling shit.
Man, the third one, the third one's story is not great, and I don't even really know what you go after. But the oh, you're looking for something that belonged to Francis Drake, which is supposed to be like the lineage that the Drakes come
Your
from.
dad.
Yeah, like your dad's dad, dad's dad, dad's was also like a treasure hunter, and is like looking for stuff. I have
Fucking
to,
course.
yeah, I have to be honest with you. I don't remember the third one, and reading this plot is not helping me at all. Yeah, I don't remember this one. I know for a fact I played it, but let's go on to Uncharted 4 because Uncharted 4 has something really special. I don't need to Google for Uncharted 4.
You
They
played
did
it twice.
I did play it twice.
Ooh.
I know. They did something really unique for Uncharted 4. Well, no, not unique. No. In fact, they got rid of the uniqueness, which I thought was a really good move. They got rid of like the supernatural element of Uncharted 4, which I thought was a really good move to get rid of the supernatural element because it just always felt a little weird and it didn't feel like it was that type of game, but then they just tucked it in at the end to give it a cool twist. In Uncharted 4, you go after pirate treasure, and along the way of going after pirate treasure, you find out that the pirate treasure that you're going after, like the captain who had all the treasure, teamed up with like seven other or like 10 other pirate captain lords, and you all like brought your treasure together and used it to build a pirate civilization on this abandoned island. And it looks like ancient Greece. It's crazy.
And you can find it in Sea of Thieves.
Yeah, you're not wrong. But the graphics are incredible. The gameplay is great. The story sucks you in. The puzzles weren't as good as Uncharted 2 puzzles, but they were still pretty good. And of course, at the end, you get so close. You find the pirate ship that has like been moved to the middle of the island. And it's completely full of treasure. And you're like battling the spoilers. You're battling the villain inside the pirate ship. You guys actually agree to a sword fight with pirate swords, and you end up killing him by there was like a hanging cargo like wrapped up in like ropes. You know how they did it in pirate ships, right? Like all the cargo
Yeah.
was because if the ship's swinging side to side, it doesn't move around as much. But you kill him by breaking that, and like a huge pile of pirate treasure crashes down onto him. But at the same time you're fighting him, you accidentally start a fire and catch the whole ship on fire, and you escape, and like the ship explodes and all the treasure is lost. And that happens in every game, but it reminds you that it's not about the destination, it's about the journey.
Yeah, and then Nathan's still poor.
So, in one of the final scenes of Uncharted 4, because like the final scene of Uncharted 4 is literally like an hour long. It's an hour long movie cut, really. But in one of the final scenes, you find out that Elena, who has been your love interest this whole time, and you guys were married once and got divorced, and you get together at the end of the third one, I think, and you're together in the fourth one. Elena has like this whole time that you've been fighting, she's like been there and has secretly been like pulling treasure out of the ship. And she had like a small amount, like enough to set you up for life, but not like a super crazy life. And so, what happens is you end up buying a salvage company that you used to work for because you and Elena realize that like you need this adventure in your life in order to feel normal and stable and happy. And so your adventure has become being a deep sea salvage crew and like trying to get like ships that have crashed. You like try to go get their black boxes, or you like try to bring up any precious cargo and stuff like that. and you end up getting like a nice house on the beach, and you settle down, and you have a daughter, and oh man, it's
And then they no joke, and then they play Crash Bandicoot.
yes, 100%. You can play. That is at the beginning of the fourth one. Because at the beginning of the fourth one, you're in like your house that you have in like a city somewhere. And you can like walk around and play Crash Bandicoot. And you can go up into the attic of the fourth house and you have a Nerf gun. And he has like all of these like props set up. And it's like the tutorial for the game is him like reminiscing about his adventures, and you like learn the shooting mechanics of the game by shooting at little props you set up. It's like it really pulls you in and really makes you feel like Nathan has missed the adventure life, and that really sets you up for Uncharted 4.
That's super cool.
It was the beginning of the game was incredibly interesting. Just because you got to see him be a normal person and see that it's not for everybody.
For sure. No, yeah, the fourth one definitely looks the most pleasing to me. And I'm definitely gonna try to play them eventually. I actually have the series downloaded on my PlayStation because I got them through the what's it called? The PlayStation Pass or whatever you want to call it.
Oh, was it like their free game of the month if you're a PS Plus subscriber or something like that? Yeah.
Yeah, they have it on there. So I think I am gonna play it. But for now, I'm gonna eat a burger. I also just drank a lot of whiskey.
Yeah, you've been chugging whiskey this whole episode.
I just don't like hearing your voice. I'm just like, ugh, I need to get drunk. Is
man.
it? Wait, Jordan.
Oh my
Is
God.
it worth $60?
So this is kind of like
what would you pay for just 4?
for just $100. I'm not joking.
Whoa!
I would pay $100 to play. In retrospect, knowing how good the game is now, even without a multiplayer, if I knew that the game was going to be as good as what it was, because and especially if I think about it in terms of compared to a movie, you pay what, $20 for a movie and you only get an hour of entertainment, or like 2 hours of entertainment. You spend $100 on Uncharted 4 and you get like 20 hours of entertainment, and you end up playing it twice because it's so good. 1, 2, and 3.
Dude,
Sorry, go ahead.
You now know, like, now every time that I say I would absolutely pay $60 or $100 for a story game, you can never give me crap again.
I can't. Yeah, I got so excited when you asked me that question.
Yeah. What would you pay for a bundle of all 4?
Of all 4?
Yeah.
Now, so I answered Uncharted 4 as if I had never played the game but knew how good it was going to be.
Okay.
Do you know? So now in the current state that Uncharted 1, 2, and 3 are in, and Uncharted 4, I would say, like, to be reasonable and to kind of put some more logic into it, $60.
Let me put it this way. Let's say it was priced at $150 for the whole 4-pack.
No.
And there's another universe of Jordan that has never played any of them. If you got to visit that universe, that other universe, Jordan, and he said, "Hey, this is $150. Should I buy it?" What would you tell him? It would be the first time he would experience it.
Yes, 100%. 100%. I would say yes. It's a steep price to pay, but I mean, I paid for 1, 2, and 3. I think no, not at full price, because I got the Nathan Drake collection. So here's the thing: there's the Nathan Drake collection, which is 1, 2, and 3, and I paid $60 for that when it came out, and I'd gladly encourage everybody to do that. And then I also bought Uncharted 4 for $60, but I could have easily paid more.
Yeah, because I think it's best to approach the question with if you haven't played it before kind of thing. Because I don't think we really asked that question for us. I think we more asked that question for the listeners, saying, like, listeners, is it worth the price that it is now? And we just kind of go top dollar. What is it worth at launch? $60. Would you still pay that? And so first time playing it, yeah.
100%. Buy the Nathan Drake collection at whatever. There's no way that it's still $60. It's probably like $40. or 30,
or
something
probably
like
less.
that. Yeah, 100% Nathan Drake collection. Highly recommend you play it. Uncharted 4. Tell people not to bother you when you play that game. Turn off your phone and leave it in the other room. Like, you don't need it. Uncharted 4 is an incredible story and an incredible game, and you basically get to become Indiana Jones.
That's a really good way. That's a really good review for sure. But yeah, guys, I don't want my burger to get cold, and so this
Yeah,
has been a fun episode.
let's
I
let
need to
Justin eat
eat,
his
guys.
food.
But so we just checked our analytics right before we started this podcast, and you guys are killing it. We're going up every week in terms of the amount of listeners we're getting. If you're a listener and you're listening frequently, follow us. So if you're on Spotify and you listen to us regularly, hit the follow button. If you're on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. I don't know how it quite works on Apple Podcasts, but we don't really have that many people on there. Shout out to Hayden. Yeah, let it. That's a good way to keep us going. You know, we want to be able to see those numbers rise with the amount of people that check us out. You can follow us on any of our social media. I'm really crappy at doing social media. Pretty much like Twitter is the main area you're probably going to be able to see some sort of activity.
I would say that we do social media so that you have a way to reach out to us. We don't really post that much like going out. We probably should, but
we'll reach out to us.
Yeah, reach out to us on there.
You like Facebook, I'll try to work on it. Twitter is where I'm the most active. Twitter's where we're the most active. Instagram, you're probably only going to see Instagram posts if like me and Jordan are hanging out together.
Justin, you didn't tell anyone our handles. How can they find us?
Yeah. So on pretty much every social media platform, it's at AVP Casting, and then that's pretty much all of them. But pretty much every way you're listening, there should be a link or somewhere in the description that says where we are. But we've really been enjoying this. It's been a little harder to kind of get ideas across because me and Jordan don't work in the same place anymore. Mm-hmm. But we're still trying to figure out kind of a schedule and where things are going to fall onto it. But
especially like with my son right now, like this is not a first priority for me. But when he goes back to his mom's, dude, I'm so excited to get like really, really into this. I really want us to have a trailer. I really want us to get like a soundboard where we can do sound effects like pew, 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 and stuff like that, dude. Oh man.
Yeah, I can't wait to annoy everyone with the soundboard. No, Jordan, I think I might get a stream board and we can just plug sound effects into that.
Oh, like a Stream Deck?
Stream Deck, yeah.
Yeah. There's an app on that you can get for your phone.
Yeah, I know.
It's not the same, but yeah.
But anyway, Jordan, say goodbye to the lovely people.
Goodbye, everyone. I love you. I love you, Justin.
Well, all right. Daddy and Daddy love you guys. You guys stay safe and stay warm wherever you are. Bye, everyone.